Barry Sanders, it is great to see you.
Great to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
How you feeling?
I feel great. I mean, this time of year, camp starting, the season's, at its beginning, and football fans, man, we're ready to go.
Barry, we were just in a segment, and you were standing off the camera over there, and I just lost my train of thought. I'm like, it's not like you get to see Barry Sanders every day. Everybody.
I'm around.
You're around, Barry.
Come on now.
But it immediately goes back to these flashbacks of you as a Lion, and your days. You just start thinking about the highlights. You can't help but see you and not think of these highlights that are just legendary. And it's like, did you ever just surprise yourself when you would watch the tape and some of the things that you did?
I think sometimes, going back and seeing the film, certain things might jump out, because obviously when you're in the thick of it, you don't always know what it's going to look like or whatever, but you know how it is in this game, man. It's intense, and you got to be on your A game. And fortunately for me, I was able to leave a lot of good footage. You mentioned the highlights. I have a lot of good highlights. I don't have any rings, but I have a lot of highlights, so I can't complain about that.
I mean, can you imagine in the social media world how your highlights would have gone viral, right? Much different world.
Yes.
I mean, we had the 11 o'clock news, right?
It really is. But we did have Chris Berman. I forgot the name of the show that he did with
Primetime,
NFL Primetime, yeah.
TJ.
But certainly, yeah, it's certainly a different world. And like I said, I'm fortunate that I left my share of highlights out there.
Barry, we are excited about being here. I mean, this Lions team it's been building, and I just wanted to kind of get your gauge on where your excitement is for the upcoming season. Everybody's got to go do it. Dan Campbell has been very clear about that. But there is a buzz and excitement about it. How do you feel about it?
Oh, absolutely. I think if you look at last year, the end of last season, and you just really, look at how they played great complementary football. Mm-hmm. They got contributions all over the field. Yep. Offense, defense, young players, veterans, and there's so many names you could throw out there of guys who contributed, and so you love seeing that, and that's always a great sign. You're not necessarily dependent on one aspect of your team, only certain individual players. So I think this team is well balanced. Obviously, they have to be feeling good about the way they finished last season. Although you're only going to get so much push from what you did last year. But if you're building on that, you've been working in the offseason, I feel like things are certainly set up for them in the division. And yes, me along with so many other Lions fans, we are excited about this season. We know that really the sky is the limit.
Last time we won a playoff game, you're on the field, it was 91. Last time they were in the playoffs.
That was the last time?
Oh, last time. I'm sure you've never heard that before. Just telling everyone else.
Just a reminder.
And the last time, obviously, in the playoffs was in 16, the loss in the wild card round in Seattle. What would it mean, Barry, to not have to keep hearing that? What would it mean for this team to get in and actually do something?
Oh, it would mean so much. I mean, I think, that has to be in the back of this team's mind, changing that narrative. We've all heard it. We've all had to live with it.
You're sick.
Well, it's there, man. That's how it is. That remains the reality at this point. But I know that if there's any team that could change that, then it's this group, and Coach Campbell, and just sort of how he's built the last few years, and the product they put on the field. So yeah, I think if there's any team that's going to do it, I mean, this is the right time to do it right now.
I think that this is a team that is built around the run game, and they've got a brand new running back room, led by David Montgomery, coming from Chicago, real good contact runner, Barry, and this young rookie, Jahmyr Gibbs, that they saw, this is what they want. Have you seen much so far, or what kind of anticipation do you have for this group?
Oh yeah, I think just like I mentioned with the complementary football. I mean, they want to be balanced, and the guys they have in the room, that's what they're there for. They're there to make plays. They're there to make plays in the passing game and in the running game. Being in this division, we've seen what David Montgomery could do game in and game out. He's a 1,000-yard rusher every year, pretty much. And so we're looking hopefully, for the same production, so yes, I believe, and they couldn't be more geeked about Jahmyr Gibbs and being able to get him early in the first round and what they've seen so far, and his attitude and his approach to practice. And just when you get a young running back, in camp and you see him, in real live action with other players, to see whether that speed transfers. Whether he still has that speed, whether he still has that zip that he had in college. And so I think so far we see that he's going to be a guy that can make plays.
Before we get to your big honor coming up here, this actually goes perfectly into the thing I think Baldy and I both wanted to ask you about. The Lions redid their running back room, and Jamal Williams led the league in touchdowns. He couldn't get the contract he necessarily wanted. It is tough out there for a running back these days. Barry, I mean, part of me thinks that like a 28-year-old Barry Sanders might have been a cap casualty after a 2,000-yard season. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you get it?
Know.
Do you get what's going on?
Not completely. It is interesting to watch. I think, because I'm still seeing some guys being very productive at running back, and it also will be interesting to see, what those teams, what kind of seasons some of those teams have that don't have those backs. The first thing that comes to mind obviously is Dalvin Cook. I mean, we're assuming that they're going to be a better team without him. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Right.
We'll see what. Yeah, exactly. We'll see what side of the casualty. Who is it a casualty for the team or a casualty for the player?
Right.
Or both. But and I obviously, with Saquon, obviously that was very interesting just to see how that deal worked out. But yes, for a running back, would I be a cap casualty? I don't know. I mean, I like my chances behind this Lions offensive line. I like my chances.
I think that you actually would disappear behind Penei Sewell for just a brief second.
I would love to. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean,
absolutely. I'd love to run behind him.
You would hold in for a new contract hiding behind Penei Sewell. What's coming up week 2 is so cool outside Ford Field. You're the first Lion to get a statue. No one could ever catch you when you were playing. They finally caught you to sculpt you. Have you seen it yet?
I've seen some early versions of it, and I've met the artist, and but yeah, I mean, it's a big weekend for me and my family, for Lions fans. I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot that's gone into it. So it's just amazing what's happened over the last, 20-some years since I've been retired. And this is almost like, I feel like almost like going into the Hall of Fame, having something like this, this kind of a celebration. So yeah, it's a really, really big deal. And I'm excited about it.
That's amazing. Congratulations on that. And again, it is week 2 before the Lions home opener. The Lions open the season, as we all know, on the 7th in Kansas City in primetime on the very big stage. A stage this guy dominated when he was on it. Barry Sanders, it is always great to have you here.
Thanks, Barry.
Thanks for bringing me here, guys.
Barry Sanders, everybody. Coming